Hello, welcome to Dungeon Growers Podcast. I'm your host Justin. Today we have another comic book review for you today. This time we're reviewing DC Universe Rebirth All-Star Batman Volume 1, My Own Worst Enemy. Just gonna pause for a sec. Yeah, sorry, I had to sneeze for a sec. So this is written by Scott Snyder, drawn by John Romita Jr. And then there's bonus issues called what was it called? The Cursed Wheel, which that has art by Declan Chauvet, whoever that is. I have no idea. So this book, I think, let me double check to see when it was published. I'm guessing 2016, it's 2017. Okay, because that's around the time that DC Universe was doing the Rebirth, which was a new reboot or something like that. I don't know. I kind of hate the constant reboots that DC does, because it's like I read this book and I was completely lost. Like who's this sidekick to Batman? And I don't even know his hero name. He just goes by Duke. At first I thought it was Batwing, because he was African American and he kind of dresses like Batwing, but with a different color scheme. Which Batwing was created by Grant Morrison in Batman Incorporated, I think it was called. I'm not 100% sure. Or Batman Inc., something like that. So why I picked this up was I'm not really a Scott Snyder fan. Never really read some of his works. I read his New 52 Swamp Thing book and wasn't a huge fan of it. It wasn't too bad. It was I wasn't too impressed. And people say his Batman stuff was good. I don't know, man. It's the thing where with Batman, I either read the classic stuff or I read the Grant Morrison stuff, and it's I have a hard time believing this no-name guy who is a name nowadays could write better than Grant Morrison, because Grant Morrison's weirdness aside, he's a great fucking writer. Which I probably should have swore, but you know how it is. And another thing that drawn me to this book is that it's drawn by John Romita Jr., who was one of the famous artists of Marvel Comics. So the fact that John Romita Jr. was doing a DC book, and not just a DC book, but a Batman book, was holy crap, how did that come to be? Because I've only ever read stuff like John Romita Jr.'s. I only ever read his stuff that was that's been published by Marvel. One exception was Kick-Ass, which was written by Mark Millar. John Romita Jr. did the art for that, which I don't even know who publishes Kick-Ass. I think it's owned by Image now, but I don't know. But yeah, it's not too surprising that John Romita Jr. would do a Mark Millar book. Mark Millar is a pretty big name nowadays, or he has been since 2000. But yeah, for him to do a DC book, man, I was impressed. So the story for this book is Two-Face is now the new kingpin of Gotham, and he did some things where I'll just read the back. Okay. Miles traveled 0 miles to go 498. After Two-Face's latest mayhem in Gotham leaves the city reeling, Batman must transport the criminal mastermind to his out-of-the-way safe house in the heart of rural America. Set up by Batman with the help of Harvey Dent, Two-Face's sane alter ego, the mysterious destination contains a trap that could end Two-Face forever, assuming they can make it there alive. As Batman drives the two sides of Harvey Dent battle for control, each working furiously to learn his other half's plans and sabotage them. Batman and Harvey believe that they can control Two-Face long enough to execute their ultimate endgame, but the road is long and there are miles and miles yet to go. Let me pause for a sec. Sorry, I thought I had to sneeze. So basically what happened is Two-Face now, like before, Two-Face had like a split personality. Now Two-Face, now it's different. Now Two-Face is different. It's either Harvey's in control or Two-Face is in control, and Two-Face now is like the criminal mastermind of Gotham, and everybody pays Two-Face tribute, including the Penguin, who has an alliance with Black Mask and some other guy. I think his name was White, who looks very similar to Black Mask, but constantly curses. And basically, Two-Face got a hold of everybody's secrets and blackmails the city, and even like all the villains have to pay him tribute. So he did an acid attack which scarred like a lot of the residents of Gotham. And after that, Harvey, while in control, sent Batman a plan on how to cure him. But like for that to happen, Batman needs to take Two-Face to their old retreat that they. Well, basically, what happened is Batman and Two-Face, or Harvey Dent, turns out they were best friends as kids, where they were sent to this rehabilitation house for kids, where they didn't go by names, they went by codenames like 2B and 2A, and Harvey Dent and Bruce Wayne were best friends there, and they even had this secret pact where they would kill each other's enemies, kind of like in that Alfred Hitchcock movie. I forget what it's called. I think it's called Stranger on a Train. I don't even know, man. I don't watch Hitchcock stuff, but Harvey chickens out because his dad was promised to be better, right? So after that, they formed like a friendship, but they forgot like who they were till like years later, and now that's where like Harvey Dent has hid the cure, right? And all Batman has to do is take Two-Face there. But Two-Face, Harvey Dent's evil alter ego, has basically sent out like a message to everybody that whoever rescues him from Batman will get like a huge reward, and if nobody saves him, right, he sent a file to the police station to release everybody's secrets, right, including Batman's identity, which is obviously Bruce Wayne. Which they even talk about how it's not pretty much everybody thinks like Bruce Wayne is Batman, but the problem is nobody has proof. Well, Two-Face has proof, and there's even a scene where like Alfred betrays Batman, but temporary. So I really enjoyed the book. It has this like the raid slash like Escape from New York feel to it. Though one of the problems I have with the book is Batman feels like very cartoony action hero, where his suit has like gadgets and gadgets for everything, and secret weapons. Like his suit is fucking Iron Man or some shit, right? But what's cool about the book is you have a lot of cameos from villains, Tiger Shark's there, Killer Croc, Gentleman Ghost, who only has a cameo. You don't see. Batman fights Gentleman Ghost off screen, and you also have KG Beast, who changed his name to the Beast, who's hired by Penguin and crew to kidnap Batman and kill Harvey Dent, but he wants to take Batman onto a secret island where he's gonna hunt Batman for years, right? Which sounds like a cool plot for a book, because like you said, like, oh, he'll have like secret weapons everywhere. Which it's pretty cool that they made like the KGB's like a cool villain in this book, like a very terrifying villain. Where in like, you know, other books I've read, he's been considered kind of a joke. And I also forgot, you have like Batman's new sidekick in this book called Duke, who is like a yellow and black Batwing, who has like nunchucks, who's really into death metal or black metal. And apparently his backstory is like his parents, or at least his mom, was a social worker, and like Joker in some issue or whatever poisoned the city and turned like a bunch of people into psychopathic killers, including Duke's parents. And Batman took him in to train him as a new hero, but Duke doesn't want to be a sidekick. He wants to be his own man. And so, like in the second story of the book, which is only a few issues, most of the book is My Own Worst Enemy, which has a cool twist in it, which I'm not going to spoil. Duke has to solve like a murder mystery where Zaz is like killed a bunch of people and is after this one woman, and Duke has to figure it out. Which the story was pretty good. The art was shitty in my opinion, right? And I forgot to mention, there's swearing in the book, but it's censored, and just like with other John Romita Jr. books, there's a lot of brutal action in this book, a lot of blood, a lot of ultra violence. That's the thing with John Romita Jr. is that his art is not the greatest. It's very rough, but at least the guy knows how to draw fight scenes, and his fight scenes are amazing, and they're very gory, man. Very bloody. Very, very brutal. That's why I said it has this raid feel to it. So if I were to give this book a rating, I was gonna give it a 6.5, but you know, I'm giving it a 7. Though I don't really like this kind of Batman, the crime fighter action hero Batman. I'm more a fan of the psychological Batman, that, you know, the Dark Knight villain, superhero who goes after like psychotic, like, you know, villains and plays mind games with them. Here he's just like an action hero, like crime fighter in this book, but it's still a pretty cool book and very entertaining. I forgot to say that normally this book costs like $25 US, 34 Canadian. Holy crap! But I would say it's kind of worth the price. But if you can get it cheap, I would get it cheap. This is the hardcover edition, by the way. So yeah, that's it for this review. My next review is going to be Road to Rebirth, Titan's Hunt, which is written by Dan Abnett. I guess this takes place during the New 52, which I haven't read the New 52 Teen Titans. I don't know, Dan Abnett can be a good writer, but like, you know, he comes off a little SJW sometimes, especially if you ever read his like old like Guardians of the Galaxy run, but it was still good. But he had like a second what was his name? A second writer that worked with him, Andy Landing or something like that. I can't remember. Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to this book. It'll be the first Teen Titan book I've ever reviewed on this channel, and I haven't read, like, you know, it's been years since I've read, you know, Teen Titans book that wasn't in my, you know, that wasn't in my you know, collection for years, because it's been years since I bought a Teen Titans book. All right, guys, that's it for today's review. Peace.